Well, first let me say Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
We do have our candles are not lit because we don't have batteries, but Happy Hanukkah to everyone, number one. Another holiday of the light, so we celebrate all the holidays of the light. December is a special time of year for connection, for community, and for care. A time that reminds us to embrace the consciousness of the Christ. And this December, Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center, we are capturing the spirit of this season in a variety of ways. And before we move forward this Sunday, I want to go over a little bit about last Sunday's talk. Everybody had a handout in that. It was an incredible, it was on peace, beautiful service. And today will be a beautiful service. But I want to check in with you for those that did the practice of practicing in peace every day of the week. It was a different practice, but it was still based on peace. I'll go over it briefly. So that last Sunday, we did our being peace. We did that right here in Sunday service. That was nice. But Monday was thinking peace. And then you bring that into meditation for even 5 minutes. Thinking peace. And practice it throughout the day. Tuesday was feeling peace. Wednesday was speaking peace. Thursday was acting peace. Friday, creating peace. And Saturday was sharing peace. We need more peace on this planet. We always have, and we most certainly do. Still need it. Very strongly we need it. I said last week, as long as men are in charge, we will always need peace on earth. But that's just me. Okay. Since we're back to Sunday again, let's take a moment to be peace. Just breathe in peace. Now, we talked last week about the 4 qualities that peace can encompass, and it's wonderful in our daily lives. Peace, harmony, laughter, and love. How many times do we laugh in our life? It's like it's a lost art or joy. Laughter itself. It's the most uplifting act, really, that we can do for ourselves and through ourselves. Today we're going to talk about the idea of Christ consciousness. We talk about that a lot in New Thought / religious science. We talk about the Christ consciousness. We especially talk about it in December because we're celebrating Christmas, Jesus of Nazareth. So, and by the way, Christ was not his last name, it's a title, and so Christ means anointed one, so we all know that. So we explored a little bit in the first Sunday of the month, and I asked how we can embrace and incorporate this term, Christ consciousness, into our lives. But today we're going to explain what it is. As we move closer to the holiday of Christmas, we'll take a look. But first, I have a brief Bible quiz. So here we go. Let me see. It's a very brief, easy test. Not test. It's a quiz. Based on the 2 Gospels that deal with the birth of Jesus, just 2 of the Gospels, that would be Matthew and Luke. And answer the following questions out loud. Okay? What did Mary ride on the road to Bethlehem? A donkey. How soon after they reached Bethlehem did she give birth? No one knows?
2 nights.
Excuse me?
2 nights.
2 nights. Whoa, okay. Now, how many wise men were there? 3. How did the star compare to the brightness of the other stars? The brightest star in the sky. And who else besides the wise men saw the star? The shepherds. That was a really easy, quick little test, wasn't it? The truth of it is, my friends, the Gospels do not say any of this. Not one bit of this. When we read Luke 2:1 and Matthew 2:22, we learn, one, the first question, what did Mary ride on the road to Bethlehem? And Mary and Joseph, it says in the Bibles, went to Bethlehem. Neither gospel said what she rode on or how she got there. Second, how soon after they reached Bethlehem did Mary then give birth? And the scriptures tell us that Mary was with child, and that it came to pass that while they were there, she delivered, and it was fulfilled, and she gave birth to her firstborn son. It does not even suggest it was the night. Can you imagine being pregnant and riding on a donkey? I mean, seriously, even if it was a virgin, as it please. Okay, that's just me. 3, how many wise men, right? How many wise men were there? We think there were 3. Matthew does not tell us how many wise men there were, and Luke doesn't talk about it at all. There were, however, 3 gifts given. That might be where it came from. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So that might be where they made up the 3 wise men. So, how did the star compare to the brightness of the other stars? There was no mention of the nature of the star. Matthew merely says the star went before them. The wise men, it mentions wise men, it doesn't say how many, rested over the birthplace. Who else besides the wise men saw the star? That star is not mentioned in connection with the shepherd. An angel told them. That's why on the manger set, I'm thinking of it, you hang the angel is right up above them. The angel told them. So there's a lot of myths. There's a lot of myths around Christmas story which we take as gospel. We take it as the absolute truth. This is the story. And there could be so many other myths, you know, because somebody wrote all of this down. Somebody made this all up. But in our New Thought teachings, which is where I'm going with this, we believe another myth. And that myth is that Jesus is the only Son of God, the great example. But we think of him as the great example, not the exception. Not the exception. He is the example. He was a New Thought teacher. And his example was how to practice and live New Thought. On page 363 of Science of Mind by Dr. Ernest Holmes, he writes, in studying the life and teachings of Jesus, the most unique character in history, we discover a few simple ideas underlying his philosophy, the embodiment of which enabled him to become the Christ, the Anointed One. And we will look at 3 simple ideas this morning, 3 things that our master teacher did tell us and practice. And as we deepen into this, we capture that whole spirit of Christmas. What it could mean to us individually. It doesn't make a difference what your religion is, but what it can mean to us really and deeply. And again, on 365, Holmes tells us, the study and the life of the teachings of Jesus, the most unique character in history. Oh, I already read that. All right, skip over. And then we'll look at the 3 simple ideas. And the most important one truly is that Christ now consciousness The anointed consciousness is within each and every one of us, which is making us, it doesn't make us, we are the most powerful creators of our lives, if we wish to believe that. It's all a matter of belief. So the first one is that this is what Jesus taught. The kingdom of God is within. Yeah? So the first line appears at Luke 17:20-21. The circumstances were that the Pharisees were harassing Jesus and trying to trip him up with all kinds of trick questions. They were trying to catch him in inconsistencies or blasphemous statements. It is told in Luke that some of the Pharisees asked Jesus where the kingdom of God would come, and he answered, saying to them, the kingdom of God does not come by observation, neither will they say, behold, it is here, or behold, it is there. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And there it is, right there. If you want to believe the Bibles, there it is, right there. The kingdom of God is within you. Christ consciousness concept number one. That's what that is. So one Sunday, a youth church teacher had just taught her class the story. And a few minutes later, to test the children's retention, she asked in the class, could anyone tell us where God lives? And one little boy quickly raised his hand. I know. The little boy said, and the teacher asked, well, where does he live? And the little boy said, he lives in the bathroom. The teacher was very perplexed and said, what do you mean he lives in the bathroom? The little boy said, yeah, he lives in my bathroom. Every morning, my dad goes to that bathroom door and pounds on it, and he says, good Lord, are you finished? Every morning. So actually, that was a really funny joke. Actually, the good Lord, the kingdom of God, lives within you. It lives within me. It lives within each and every one of us. As I say, no one left out, no exceptions, although it could look that way. Like, where's the God in that person, right? But if it's in one, it's in all, because there is only one. There is only one field, one creative force. And that creative force has created each and every one of us. So we, out of itself, out of its own energy, it is complete energy. And so that energy is within all of us. That Christ consciousness of knowing that we are powerful lights of the world is within each and every one of us. Jesus knew this. He knew this and he taught this, which is why he was such a great threat to the Jewish religion at the time. So according to Holmes on page 262 and 263, Jesus located God and the kingdom of heaven within himself. He located God in his own soul. So complete was this realization that he was unable to find a place where the being of Jesus began and the being of God left off, or where the being of God began and the being of Jesus ceased to be. This Jesus discovered and taught that whatever is true of us, of the reality of our nature, is the divine presence within us. So we look at capturing the Spirit of Christ by no longer looking here or there, searching out here for that which we will never really truly find, because it's all within us. Even if you are in a religion, it's still the faith, which is paramount, is within us. So all religions are valid if that's what someone chooses to believe in. But we believe in not duality, but in oneness, in unity, period. So, say this after me. The kingdom of God lives within me.
The kingdom of God lives within me.
And it does. And it does. It does, yes. So So we move on to the second one. Done to you as you believe. Yes? No, you don't believe. I have to say, okay, no more repeating after me. But it is. It's done unto you as you believe. And then he tells us, this is Jesus, over and over and over again in different circumstances and slightly different languaging, the same thing. And this is the second idea on which our entire New Thought teaching rests. We read of an experience in Matthew, and that is in, it is done unto you as you believe. We believe that. Law of attraction, all of that stuff. We read of an experience in Matthew, chapter 8, 5 to 13. During Jesus' ministry, he entered the city of Capernaum, and a centurion approached him. For those of you who don't know, a centurion was a commander of the Roman soldiers. The centurion's son was ill, and he, having heard of Jesus' reputation, approached Jesus and told him of his son's plight. Jesus said, I will come to your home immediately. But the centurion told Jesus he did not feel worthy of having him come to his home, that if he could just speak the word, then his son would be healed. At that, Jesus looked at his disciples and the others around him, and he said, truly, I say unto you, that not even in Israel have I found such faith as this. That man's faith, the centurion's faith, is what is healing, right? And then the son was healed within an hour. And Jesus said to him, go, let it be done to you according to your belief. So let it be done to you according to your belief. That's from Matthew 8:13. As we believe, we are creating. It wasn't the man himself. It wasn't Jesus himself. It was the faith of the people coming to him that was doing the healing. So how powerful are we that we can heal ourselves, that we can heal from almost anything, if not everything, with our pure faith. The pure faith. Jesus was aligned with the infinite power of the one light. He was completely aligned. He allowed it. It was in him. He completely connected with it. And he allowed it to express through him. And people could feel that. So they believed he was the healer. They believed it so strongly that healing did occur. Then in Matthew 9:20 to 21, we learned that a woman who had a blood disease for 12 years came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, saying to herself, if only I can touch his garment, I will be healed. Jesus turned around and saw her. And he said, your courage, my daughter, your faith has healed you. And the woman was healed in that very hour. Have courage, and your faith heals you. I don't even say will heal you. It does heal you. Instantaneously, it heals you. Prove it to yourself. And that's what Ernest Holmes and Science of Mind say all the time, which I love. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Prove it to yourself. That's why meditation is so very, very, very important in our lives, because it cultivates our relationship with the God of our knowing, of our being, whatever that might be to whomever. It's where I connect with the light, pure light. That's what I see. The law, the divine law, is always working. It's always working, giving to us what we truly believe. The stronger our thought belief and our emotional belief are, then the faster the manifestation of a desire takes place. You can use it to zap your life, or create miracles. You get choice. We get to choose. Jesus taught that over and over and over again, that is what you need to do. And that brings us to the third teaching that he taught. These things and more you shall do. Not shall, you can do. These things and more. That means everything that he did, you are capable of doing. At John 14:12, it is written, "Truly, truly, I say unto you, he who believes in me shall do the works which I do, and even greater than these things he shall do." In Science of Mind, on page 361, Ernest Holmes wrote, Jesus understood his own nature, which is what? His oneness with God. He understood that. He knew that as a human embodies the divine, it manifests through the Christ nature. Jesus never thought of himself as different from others. His whole teaching was that what he could do, others could do. So how powerful are we, really? No one ever told us that growing up. Most people were not told that, yeah? Maybe you were. You were lucky if you were. I know you were. And he's a manifester over there. But he was taught that. Very rare. Very rare. So this is how we capture the spirit of Christ, that Christ consciousness, by realizing that the kingdom of God, first of all, is within. And by knowing it is done unto us as we believe. And by accepting what Jesus did, we can do also. From A Day to Remember, this is an obscure book of miscellaneous writings of Ernest Holmes, but there's this one little gem that I want to read to you in closing today. He writes this. You can just take a breath right now, because that was a lot of information. If you didn't get it into your conscious mind, your subconscious got it. We must realize that each of us, at the center of our own being, does meet the living Spirit. What we celebrate at Christmas time is not just the birth of a traditional figure, not just the birth of one of the greatest men who ever graced the world with his presence, but the birth into human consciousness, into each one of us, of something transcendent and immediate and effective and available. The divine presence revealing itself to us directly, personally, and intimately. What we have to do is discover what Jesus found is hidden within every person. An utmost simplicity and deep sincerity. For back of the false front of all of us, the little child, a child born of the kingdom of God. The discovery of this child within each and every one of us, is the greatest discovery of our lives. That child knows it all. It is all. It is all. The search after him is the greatest adventure of our life. That is the meaning of the Christ, the divine incarnation within everyone. That is the Christ consciousness that we speak of, and that is that divinity within each and every one of us, to have that conscious awareness of that which is divine, and know that these things and more that Jesus did, we can do. And so